They had dressed her in purple, they had placed her in an immaculate coffin. The doctors had given up, the millionaire's daughter had been declared dead. But as the funeral began, a poor boy stepped forward. The employee's son was mocked, pushed away, told to respect the dead, until his small voice broke the silence. "She's not gone." What happened next stopped the funeral and left the mother crying through her tears. Before we begin, tell us in the comments what time it is and where you're watching from. Let's go. "Don't stand so close," muttered one of the men in suits, pushing the boy away with a rigid hand. "This isn't for you," he said. The boy, no older than 9, clenched his fists at his sides. His overalls were faded, a black t-shirt underneath, his curly hair messy, his dark eyes burned, but not with fear, with pain. "She was my friend," he whispered. The small, immaculate coffin before him seemed like cruelty. Inside lay the millionaire's only daughter, her body dressed in a purple gown, a single white flower placed on her chest. Her pale hands were carefully folded, her face disturbingly still. She hadn't been sick for long. The evening before, she had suddenly collapsed. High fever, then her breathing stopped. The doctors rushed to the mansion, but by morning they told the mother it was over. Gone, without remedy, without hope. The funeral was organized quickly, grief swallowing logic. But the boy remembered her differently. He remembered her voice, her laughter, her stubbornness. She wasn't a distant princess locked in a castle. She was his only true friend. He remembered how she would sneak into the kitchen when her governess wasn't looking, stealing cookies and running barefoot on the marble. She would drag him outside, even when his mother, the employee, scolded him for bothering the young girl. "You don't bother me," the girl would insist, glaring at anyone who said otherwise. "He's my friend." And now she lay silent. The boy's throat burned. He stepped toward the coffin. "Why didn't you wait for me to come?" he whispered, leaning over. "You promised we'd climb the big tree this summer. Remember, you said you weren't afraid anymore." "Step back," spat a man louder this time, his polished shoes crunching on the gravel as he advanced. "This isn't your place. You're just the employee's son. Show some respect." The boy's lip trembled, but his voice rose. "She was my friend. She talked to me when no one else would. She hated being alone in that big house." His words broke, his chest heaving with each syllable. The mother, dressed in a fitted black suit, her hair pulled into a severe bun, lifted her face from the coffin. Her eyes were red from tears, but her grief was tinged with anger. "You think this is the time for stories? My daughter is dead, child, dead." Her voice broke on the word. "Don't come here pretending to know her better than I do." "I'm not pretending," the little boy cried, his voice becoming a scream that broke the solemn silence. He leaned over and placed his hand on her temple. Then he froze. Warmth, not ice, not the lifeless cold he had known when his grandmother died. "She's warm," he called out, turning to the mother. "She's not gone." The crowd stirred, exclamations, whispers piercing the air. The mother's face contorted, fury fighting against fragile hope. "Don't dare play with me like this. Don't give me false hope. I held her when she stopped breathing. I heard the monitors flatline, the doctors." Her voice broke into sobs. The boy shook his head violently. "The doctors are wrong," he said. "Touch her yourself." He grabbed her hand, pulling her desperately toward the girl. The men in suits rushed forward. "Outrageous," one of them spat. "He's disrupting the funeral, the insolent child." Another muttered, "Remove him." But the boy held on, his small fingers digging into the mother's hand. "Please." His voice broke, desperate. "She's not cold. Look at her chest." "It's moving, I swear." The mother pulled her hand away, trembling. Her chest rose and fell in jerks. She stared at her daughter's face, still serene but not dead. Something in the boy's gaze, that raw distress, stopped her from brushing him aside. Her hand hesitated above her daughter's forehead. The boy was now sobbing aloud. "Please, ma'am. Don't bury her if I'm right. Don't put her in the ground without knowing." The guests erupted in a tumult of whispers. Some shook their heads, talking about imagination. Others leaned in, curiosity pricking their grief. The priest stammered in his prayer, his voice faltering. The mother's lips trembled. She wanted to scream at the boy, push him away, protect herself from new hurt. But her trembling hand finally reached out. Her fingertips touched her daughter's skin. The boy held his breath, and in that unbearable pause, The funeral, which was meant to close everything, hung suspended on the edge of something unimaginable. The mother's hand touched her daughter's forehead. She froze. Her skin wasn't ice cold. It was warm, slightly warm. Her chest contracted, so small, so fragile, that for a moment she thought she had imagined it. The mother jerked her hand back, breathless. She's not cold," she whispered, her voice trembling. Those present exclaimed, "That's impossible," a man barked. "The doctors declared her." Another replied, "She's alive, my God, she's alive." A woman let out a gasp. The priest stepped forward, stammering, "We must check this." "No," cried the mother, clutching the girl's hand, tears falling on the purple dress. "Don't take her from me again." The boy leaned over the coffin, his small hands gripping the edge. "I told you," he whispered forcefully. "She's breathing. Look closer." Everyone pressed forward, disbelief fighting against the evidence before their eyes. The girl's lips trembled, her eyelids fluttered weakly. The mother nearly collapsed, pressing her forehead against her daughter's hand. "But the doctor said," stammered one of the family doctors, who stood among the mourners, and stepped forward defensively. She was gone, her pulse undetectable, her breathing stopped. It was a phenomenon called suspended animation. Her body slowed down, everything was diminished to the point of mimicking death. "We thought—" "You were wrong," cut off the employee's son, his small voice trembling with anger. He turned to the girl. "Come on, wake up. You promised me you wouldn't leave." And then, against the stunned silence of the crowd, a sound split the air, a faint, cracked whisper. "Thomas." The boy's head shot up, eyes wide. "She's saying my name." His heart raced as he leaned closer. "I'm here, I'm right here," he said. The little girl, her lips parting again, weak but real. "I knew you would come." Her eyes fluttered, cloudy but alive. The mother let out a cry so loud it silenced the crowd. "My baby!" Her hand shook violently as it cupped her daughter's cheeks. "My heart, can you hear me?" The little girl blinked slowly. Her small fingers trembled in the boy's hand before sliding weakly into her mother's. Her voice, weak as a breath, trembled. "Mommy." The mother collapsed forward, sobbing over the coffin, holding her daughter's small body as if she could never let her go again. "Oh my God, thank you." "She's alive, she's alive." Her cries tore through the air, raw, uncontrolled. The crowd descended into chaos. Some cried, others screamed, still others denied what they were seeing. But nothing existed except the three around the coffin, the boy, the girl, the mother. The boy's chest heaved with painful relief. "I told you," he whispered, his voice broken. "I told you she wasn't gone." The little girl sketched the faintest of smiles, her lips trembling. "You always believed in me." The mother looked up at him through tears, her expression breaking with gratitude. "If you hadn't spoken, if you hadn't stopped us." Her voice broke and she hugged them both, her daughter and the boy, in a desperate embrace. The doctor still stammered, shame coloring his face. She had no pulse, no breath. It was medical, but rare. I don't know how she came back." But the mother was no longer listening. Her daughter's chest now rose and fell regularly, fragile but steady breaths. She covered the little girl's forehead with kisses, murmuring prayers of thanksgiving, and the boy stood there, tears streaming, his heart pounding wildly. He had faced their anger, their harshness, their disbelief. But in the end, it was he, the employee's son, who had saved her, because he had seen what no one else dared to see. The little girl's voice trembled once more, looking at him, as her eyes closed in exhausted peace. "Don't leave me, Thomas." He squeezed her hand, whispering firmly, "Never." And in that broken, sacred moment, the millionaire's family understood the truth. Their daughter's life had been saved, not by wealth, not by doctors, but by the courage of a poor boy who had refused to let her be buried alive. If this story touched you, don't forget to click like and subscribe to Stories That Matters to discover more moving, intense, and surprising tales. Tell us in the comments where in the world you're watching from. We love reading your messages. See you very soon. Stay kind, stay curious, and keep following us.